Hey everybody, welcome back to Reality Is where words do come to life. Well, I am back again, and this time I'm sure there is somebody out there who can relate to this conversation. And I didn't understand the depth of the issue until today. And even in the replay, it may be after the fact, but the fact is still important. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit and give you a little insight to what I'm about to say. So, about 2 weeks ago, my friend went into Loyola Hospital. She's a senior, and when she called me, she got there in the emergency room about 3 o'clock or 3:30. Now she's sitting there in pain, and we're conversing backwards and forth, talking on the phone and via text. And she's keeping me abreast as she's going along the process. And so she sat in the emergency room lobby of Loyola Hospital in Maywood on First Avenue for about 5 to 6 hours before they actually rolled her back into the actual emergency room. And then once in the back, she said she sat there for another 4 hours. Now, she was in extreme pain in her abdomen, right? And so I thought emergency room meant that you was really sick. And if you come into the hospital in the emergency room, you know that someone is really sick. Okay. And so eventually they get her squared away, but it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, she had been sitting in Loyola's emergency room from 3 o'clock, 3:30 ish until about 2 o'clock in the morning when they realized that she needed to have emergency surgery because an ulcer had burst, right? And so, with the ulcer bursting in her belly, that means that before she got there, the ulcer had already burst. The poison was already in her system, and you all stalled the process until 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning when you figured it out after running multiple tests and you understood that it was a life and death situation, that she had to be rushed to emergency surgery. Okay. So now she goes to emergency surgery, and she's in the hospital. Now you have individuals who are professionals because they've had years of service with taking blood and doing vitals. And then you have those newbies who don't know what the hell they are doing, and you all want to place them in the room on their own without them being ready to be placed in the room on their own. And because the individual is sick, you don't think they want people poking around their arms until you didn't poke so much till blood is up under the skin and the patient is steady telling you that you're hurting me, and you keep saying I'm sorry, but yet and still you study poking somebody around in their arm. And here's my thing: you got one time to stick me and one time alone. And if you don't know what the hell you're doing, you're not going to keep playing in my arm, taking a needle and just dibbling and dabbling what you think you see fit, because that's not your arm. And that's the wrong way to do it, period. Somebody's already sick, they're already hurting, and then you take your little narrow behind up in there and you think you finna do find and seek with the needle going through somebody's arm. That's painful. So that, and I'm not, this just don't happen at Loyola Hospital. I'm sure this is happening across the states. There's just some hospitals that are worse than others. And so eventually they figured out that her veins were non-functional. So they had to call a special team in to get the blood. and set up it's almost like a pick line, so you don't have to keep sticking the patient to, to get the blood and whatever you need to do for the patient to keep them, because every time they would stick her blood pressure kept rising because it was upsetting, it was painful. And so the line got put in by the special team, right? And then everybody on the first shift was fine. Everybody can do the line and get the blood. Everybody was fine. Then the next shift comes in, and I get a phone call from her crying. And the doctor's like, well, we need to get this. And she keeps saying to those individuals, they're hurting me. So you disregard what's being said. Like, y'all really don't give a damn about the patient. And they supposed to be in there to get well, but you making them more sick than what they was, because if a blood pressure keep rising, you put her in the danger zone where she can have a stroke. And so I was like, well, she don't want to put it in there. Don't put it in there. Find the individual who put it in there. Let them come back and do it. She's not going to let anybody else do it. And it's sad that our country has gotten to a place, and it's not just her. I've heard this from many other, that we just throw our seniors away and we treat them any kind of way because these hospitals feel like they're old, nobody cares, their time is up, so why should you invest your time in it? And that's just wrong. It's wrong on so many levels, because if it was your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, whoever it may be, you would want them to have the best care possible. So the same thing that you would want for somebody else is the same thing that you should give if you're going to be in that field. And so she got out the hospital, picked up, took her yesterday to get a follow-up. She got the staples out. She was telling the doctor about the pain in her legs and how they was hurting and how they was burning. And the doctor said to her, well, because you haven't moved around a lot, so your body is like coming back to, trying to get back to norm. But when a patient tells you that the legs are hurting, not just hurting, but in pain where you can't walk, and then you have burning sensation in the back of your leg, that ain't just because I got out the hospital and I wasn't able to move around. That means there is something else going on. But you sent her home and you ignored the signs, right? And so her primary doctor came in and she was telling, and so they did a test called a Doppler today. And so when they did the test, the Doppler showed that she had blood clots. Now, anybody know, physician or not, blood clots are very dangerous, especially if they move, because they can go to the heart and kill you dead. So she calls me and she tells me what the doctor, and I say, so what do you need from me? She said, I need to go back to the hospital. Now, I got her to Loyola emergency room at 2:00, 2 p.m. this afternoon. And I'm going to show you a snippet of videos. And she videotaped too, but I did a small snippet of video. It was 7:00 before I had to leave, and she was still sitting in the emergency room. There was another husband and wife. The lady was sitting on the side. She had an oxygen tank. The oxygen tank became empty. The husband got up and told security, my wife needs the oxygen to breathe. The security guard told the husband to knock on the 2 triage doors. And so my friend and the husband knocked on the door, but it wasn't loud enough. So she took her cane and she knocked on the door, on both doors, and nobody responded. Nobody responded. Now I went to the desk and I told them, I watched her legs swell up. I watched her just shaking and telling me how much she was in pain. And I went to the desk and I told the young lady, I said, her leg is swelling. She can feel it swelling. It's throbbing. She's hurting. I say, and she says she feels something moving. And I say, what do we need to do? Do we need to go? Well, if you need to leave, you need to leave. Just nasty. But this is supposed to be customer service. It's supposed to be a hospital that they supposed to help, which they have placed on the wall. And they should take all that shit off the wall because it have no meaning. And so I went back and I told him so. Then I went back and I said, well, can you have a nurse come out? The nurse never showed up. Nobody never came out to check on her. None of that. None of it. And the husband whose wife needs the oxygen tank, he got so mad that he started to raise his voice. And then eventually somebody came out of Loyola the other side with an oxygen tank. So I'm saying to whoever's in charge of Loyola, or any hospital, any patient who has dealt with what I'm describing right now, you all need to be fired. You need to be fired. You are not there to help anybody. You're there to help kill them, but you're not there to help. Not whatsoever. And as I was talking about this story, and I was talking about it with my relatives, and Loyola is on the list to be in a hospital that you don't want to go to. And I'm just saying, if you have a family member and you live in the state of Illinois, don't take your family member to Loyola Hospital. Don't take them to Loretta. No, don't take them there neither, because you check in, but you have potential that you won't check out. And I don't know how these facilities are governed. I don't know. And then after a while, you hear them come on the loudspeaker. Oh, we care about our patients, and our patient is our top concern. It can't be. When somebody come in and they say they're sick and they have a blood clot, and you leave them sitting there. She did not get to a room until 10:30 tonight. She been in Loyola Hospital in the emergency room since 2 o'clock. She did not get into a room in the back until 10:30. That's a shame before God. And you all should shut Loyola Hospital down, because you're not helping nobody. Nobody should have to um, think about when you're sitting there, you call yourself a trauma center. I don't know how that can be, because if somebody was bleeding, I'm sure they would probably bleed to death before they would get some medical attention. And your staff is not pleasant whatsoever. To have that nonchalant attitude when a family member or a person there, and then you sit these seniors. There's another elderly lady sitting out there. You sit them out there with sheets wrapped around them and just leave them sitting there. The lady was hungry and everything else, and you just left her sitting in the middle of the waiting room. Who does that? And you all call yourself a hospital that care. Y'all should take all that shit off the wall, because everything that's up there is a lie. And whoever is regulating these hospitals that allow this mess, y'all need to be slapped too, because that's ridiculous. Nobody should sit in a waiting room that long. And if you short staff, you need to start hiring people. There's plenty of nurses and everybody in medical field that's out of work that needs a job. You need to do something. But I'm telling anybody, and after this, you're going to start seeing some videos that's going to prove what's going on at Loyola Hospital. Because right now, Loyola Hospital is a death kill hospital. They don't care about their patients. Y'all just collecting insurance money. And then here's the slick thing they try to do. So while she's sitting in the lobby because she complains so much, they want to come out there and take her blood pressure so they can put it in her file like she was in the back and they took her blood pressure. That's some bullshit.com. That ain't happening. So she declined that. So this is the slick game they play. So they try to make it seem like they're servicing you, and you're not servicing anybody. So anybody, if you feel like you're being done wrong, we need to start speaking up. And our seniors need to be covered more than what they are. And this ain't the first complaint I've had. I've had a couple of complaints. But stay tuned, because proof is coming. And this is why y'all get sued right here. Y'all just collecting money, and your service is shitty as hell. So again, this video is referencing Loyola Hospital in Maywood on First Avenue, off of First Avenue and Roosevelt. You can't miss it. Maywood, Illinois. Yes, I'm going to post it, and then I'm going to tag them in this video too, because believe me, there are other videos coming, because what they're doing is setting people up to die. Wholeheartedly. That waiting room was so crowded, not caring about COVID, not caring about nothing, not whatsoever. And that right there is sad. All right. Let me know your thought process. I know this is a little long. Let me know your thought process. Leave your comments, like, and subscribe me. Hit the notification bell till we talk again. Well, that completes another episode of Reality Is, where words do come to life. I hope that you have enjoyed the conversation that we talked about. Please leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you too can know when I upload other videos. Thank you for tuning into my channel. Until we talk again.